Welcome to our podcast series on African scientists at the University of Bern. I am Dr. Djouroukoro Diallo, Associate Researcher at the Center for the Study of Language and Society and Coordinator of Initiative Afrique. Our guest today is
Philipa Akuoko, a PhD researcher from the Institute of Geography, University of Bern.
Welcome, Philipa.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you very much for giving us some of your time, despite all that what you are doing. You are working on your PhD project, but you are also mother of a few children. So thank you very much for your time.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay, good. So, could you tell us something about yourself? Who are you?
Well, Philipa is an Asante Ghanaian. I was born and raised in Kumasi in Ghana, and I have been studying geography and resource development for the past about, let's say, 15 years since I got into the University of Ghana, and I am currently researching urban and spatial development and gendered work. And I'm currently a PhD researcher in the University of Bern.
So it means you spend the most parts of your life in Ghana?
Yes, I did. I was born and raised in Ghana, and I have had all my schooling in Ghana until my PhD.
Okay, so you are Ghanaian?
Yes.
You are African?
Yes, I am.
Could you explain us what has been your way from Kumasi to Bern?
Okay, yes, I can do that. I had my basic education in Kumasi, St. George's International School, and then I went from there to Cape Coast Wesley Girls High School, where I had my senior high certificate, and I went over to the University of Ghana, where I studied geography and resource development as a major, and then French as a minor. And from there, I had a bit of exchange in the Silla University in South Korea, where I did international relations and a global exchange. And I completed my bachelor's, and then after my national service in Ghana, I continued my education to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in KNUST. And there I studied development studies, Master of Philosophy in Development Studies. That is where I began my research in informal urbanism and public space governance, which I have continued to research even into my PhD. And now I am doing my PhD in the governance of public spaces and then informality in Ghana.
This is impressive. Such a long way from Kumasi to Accra to South Korea and now to Bern. So how long have you been here in Bern?
I have been in Bern for 2 years and exactly 1 month now.
And how do you feel?
I feel great about it now. It's been a journey settling in Bern and trying to get into the society. It's been an interesting journey.
So in this situation, so what challenges or barriers have you faced, have you found here at the university?
I think I have had some challenges, but my challenges are not so much in the university environment, but as they are more personal and social, because I am a very community person. I thrive better in communities. The Ghanaian Asante in me, I've always had people around me. And then suddenly I was alone in my apartment, and it was a big challenge. I couldn't eat. I was always on the phone, and it just wasn't working. The beginning was difficult, but gradually I made friends, I met people, and I got involved with the Graduate School of Gender Studies, which was amazing. It was my safety hobby, and it continues to be so.
What do you think? What would you change then for the future for those who will come to Bern?
Mm-hmm. I think one of a major advancement that's happening in the University of Bern would be the Initiative Afrique, which I am happy to be part of, because I think if I had that support in the beginning, I would have had less of a difficult situation. So I think the University of Bern is working on it with the introduction and initiation of the Initiative Afrique. It's a beautiful thing, and I hope we can contribute to make it stay for other people, to mitigate my challenge.
This is nice to hear. Thank you for the positive comments. So what positive aspect would you then highlight in your everyday life here as a researcher at the University of Bern?
I think research in the University of Bern is actually a great privilege. It's a great resource-oriented endeavor, because I had so much resource available and to my use when I started my PhD. There was the opportunity. There were so many library facilities. There were resources for my research. There were other researchers that were interested in sharing ideas, and then also the conference opportunities and funding opportunities to participate in a bigger research environment. I think that is amazing about the research environment in the University of Bern.
You as a Ghanaian, as an African, and as a woman and as mother, what do you think is your role here at the University of Bern?
Yes. First and foremost, I think one thing that I left out is that I am an ESCAS fellow, which means that my PhD is sponsored by the government of Switzerland, and one of the key functions of being a fellow is to exchange ideas, to highlight what being an African is in the research environment in the University of Bern. So I believe that one of my roles as a researcher in the University of Bern is to show people what an African is, because there are some narratives, and I try to do this in my research, that because I work on informality, the global narrative around informality is that it's a problem to be solved in cities. It's something that policy must address to make the cities more sustainable. But through my research, I try to change this narrative and say, no, informality is something that can actually contribute to society. It actually emanates from a certain social setting. We have to understand it. And then to do that, I think my role as an African woman coming from a very informal setting, which is also very gendered labor, more women in this, I think it's to highlight these misconceptions and throw more light into what actually exists.
So, are you part of any organization or academic organizations in Africa or here in Bern?
No, currently I am part of the Initiative Afrique in the University of Bern, but international organizations, I am part of the Development Studies Association that's actually based in the University of Manchester, and I am part of the African Research Society in the Development Studies Association. So the idea is to be like a sounding board for research and also help to compare international research, especially regarding the African context.
So, what do you think? How could you contribute more to the exchange between Bern and these institutions? So, where you are part of?
One thing that I'm really interested in is to contribute by collaborating. Because as I said before, research in Switzerland and in University of Bern in particular is really open and it's resource intensive. And I think the challenge of most African research and universities is resource. So collaborative efforts through, for instance, the Spirit program by the SNSF is one way that we can organize and then plan projects to work on collaboratively. And I think that's, and the key word here is collaboratively, not like, in some instances you have some global northern institutions initiate research and then these southern scholars just do the research but are not really involved. They're just seen as tokens in the project just to give it their name. No, but I think effective collaboration would be very interesting and would push research further.
Effective collaboration,
yes.
Collaboration north-south, south-north.
Exactly.
So this is the key message that you want to say, to send here, right?
Yes.
So, and this is also what Initiative Afrique is promoting.
Yes.
So what do you think, what kind of activities Initiative Afrique should promote to offer extra value to African scientists here in Bern?
Well, I would say that we can take a more personal and social approach in that I do know that Africans love community, Africans love their food, they love the whole idea of being able to identify with others. So I would suggest that the Initiative Afrique takes a more personal approach by creating, for instance, community lunches among the African scholars where we can have the opportunity to have indigenous lunches from, for instance, different communities, or we could just decide that each person brings their food and we just share. And I think in that informal social setting, we can build a more coherent bond and be there for each other in the research environment.
So community building.
Yes,
community building.
It's very important to me.
Yes, and we are also still working on community building. You are board member of the association All Africa Ubuntu.
Yes.
So thank you for your involvement, for your engagement. Talking about community, you are talking about being together. So what do you miss the most here in Bern from your life back home?
Well, I am a mother, like you said in the beginning, and I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. I have family that I was so used to living with, and that for me is absent. It's difficult. Technology is helping, but it's not the whole thing. So I miss my family and yeah.
So you are still living alone here in Bern?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What would you wish? What would be your wish
My wish would be that I could have my family with me while I do my research, something I love. So, yeah.
You also said you would like to Initiative Afrique to organize activities and also cultural, linked to culture, like lunch on food. Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest?
What would I suggest concerning the activities or the timing or?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that we can work on perhaps designating certain Saturdays. Like we can say first and third Saturday of the month, the African community will come together. We will have some traditional games. We have Ludo, we have Awares. Those are from Ghana. And people from other places can also bring their games. We have food, and then we just spend some social time together so that we can make space for the other problems or the other comments or needs of other people. I think these can always be addressed in a more social environment.
So what do you think? How can the University of Bern better promote exchange between Bern and African partners?
I would suggest that for I'm not very privy to this. I don't know if it's already happening, but if it's happening, it can be intensified. That whatever research that is being conducted here in the African context, if the focus is in the African context, then this researcher should collaborate with a university or research institute in the African context, because I know we have a lot of Swiss research in Africa scholars here. So get in contact with scholars in this research regions. If you're researching Ghana, get in touch with scholars in Ghana, spend quality time in these universities, and then benefit from the local environments too, because I think it makes a lot of difference.
So research stays
yes.
in Africa,
yes.
in African research environment.
I think it's very important. A minimum of a semester would be very important, and it would change certain basic narratives.
So you said at the beginning that you are now like more than 2 years here in Bern.
Yes.
So it means you know the country a little bit.
A bit.
So what do you know about Bern? What do you know about the country? Could you tell us something?
Well, one thing I know about Switzerland is that it's a beautiful country. I love the Swiss landscape. I love the Alps. I don't like going up, but I love seeing it. And then I love the greenery. For me, it's very relaxing to take train rides and just look outside the trains, just see the landscape. They're calming for me. And then I love the difference. Every canton and even city has something unique to it. And I love that about it. I think it's very, I don't know, everyone has its identity. And I think it's something that different countries can learn from. That iconic image that each canton has and then each city has. I really value, I respect it.
Thank you for sharing us your ideas, your insight on the work of Initiative Afrique here at the University of Bern and the partnership between Bern and African universities, and also about African researchers here at the University of Bern. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Djouroukoro. Have a good day too.